And she tried to be all slick with me.
And they need backup.
Hey, to everybody just joining in, I admit I'm a little late to the party. Yeah, I was watching some other feeds. There's been peaceful protests down at 5th and Jefferson now for, I don't know, since mid this afternoon. Some sort of commotion just happened kind of out of nowhere. Quick evaluation of the scene. There's far less police presence down here than there has been the last several days. The lines of National Guard that we've seen are not here. We do have a group of police officers off to the left. My first walk through the crowd here, there are actually police officers that are in uniform, and the police officers that are in uniform are taking pictures with protesters, showing their support. And that's not something that we've seen in previous days.
I need everybody back.
There's a Metro police officer who's on his knees, on his knee.
What are y'all praying for? We've been praying for years.
Everybody can see it. Hold the line. That's how they got through here. Hold on.
Yep. So I'm sorry, I'm a little too short to see. So what we saw yesterday, right, was something similar, where there was a peaceful protesters that were marching through the street. After the marches through the street, where the police were escorting people that were marching. There was even a time, I believe, on Steph Townsend's feed where a police officer dropped his riot shield and dropped his baton and then hugged a protester. And then not 15 minutes later, they began to flashbang and pepper spray the crowd.
They will tear gas us in 20 minutes. Do not believe me. It is motherfucking news.
Yeah. I can't say that I don't disagree with what that young woman was saying. Directly by where there's a police officer and it looks like a protest organizer that are on their knees praying together. It is surrounded by WLKY, WHAS, so the local news coverage is standing there.
Hey, are you Jason?
I am Jason. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, what's up, man? Yeah. What's up? How you doing? Thank you. Thank you.
Keep it up, bro.
I appreciate you down here taking pictures, man. You're way better pictures than I am. Keep this shit up. Keep this shit up. Good deal. Good deal.
You can't stop the revolution! 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 You can't stop the revolution!
Yeah, so I admittedly I've only been down here a few minutes. Once again, there's been people that have been down here for hours. To be honest, I was just exhausted. I need to get some Taco Bell in me, some of that good energy full food. And I've just now made my way down. I know a couple hundred people just showed up out of nowhere. What I've kind of seen so far is just today. It's like we've seen in previous days. There's chants. People are gathered in front of the courthouse on 6th and Jefferson Park. That's right across the street. That's a public park. Majority of the protesters are out of the road. There is this group here. And the protesters appear to be, they're holding a line around the street here. The police presence here in the last few days is far, far less. There is no National Guard on this block. I did see some that were parked as I was walking in. There's traffic that is blocked by 2 police cars eastbound. There's more just northbound on 6th Street. Today there are officers in uniform that are walking around. There are officers in uniform that are walking downtown around, and they are hugging members of the crowd. They are taking pictures with signs. The large grouping that we just saw. What's up, baby? How you doing?
Good. Let it go.
Thank you.
I got some pop shots hugging people over there.
Yeah. Much bullshit, I think, but that large group that we just saw gathered in the middle of the street, that was cops and protesters that were taking a knee and praying together. That was drawn directly in front of other news cameras. WAKY, WHAS were all there. As we saw previously, once again, Steph Townsville had a feed up where a protester and a police officer, the police officer dropped his baton, dropped his riot shield. They hugged. And everyone saw that happen, and cheers went into the sky. And then, not 20 minutes later, they flashbanged and shot pepper spray bullets into the crowd. I want to walk around the crowd here and kind of get a wider shot of everybody that's down here. There seems to be, there's several hundred people. I'm going to say somewhere between 3 and 5. As we saw yesterday, by this judicial building and around here where there was the lines of police, there are no longer lines of police in riot gear. We can see, there are officers in uniform that are having conversation with protesters. Hopefully they don't steal all the water and milk today. Looks like there is now a police chopper that is now circling overhead. There's still no National Guard presence down here. There's no. I haven't seen anybody in riot gear. We've got our buddies that are on top of the buildings over here. I guess the snipers and the drone pilots that are monitoring. So you know what? Let me take my short ass over here on this ledge and see if I can get a better shot of the crowd. Okay, so here's our first police officers in riot gear carrying sticks. They appear to just be hanging out. Nothing exciting. They're actually looks like they're going into the courthouse, not towards the protesters here. Yeah. Yep. So we can still hear it. We can see here kind of the full crowd of people. I've walking through the crowd. I've seen other protest organizers that I've seen in previous days that are out here with megaphones. A lot of the same faces, a lot of the same people that have been pepper sprayed and have been tear gassed and hit with sticks that have returned back to continue to protest. I have had other people that they've just sent me links. They followed up that there are groups of police that are I guess organizing elsewhere, not in plain seen. All right. So everybody hang tight for about 2 seconds. Drop my phone in my pocket. I kind of pulled it out in a hurry. Need to hook up my charger and everything. I think we're going to have another long night. Let's see how it goes.
Okay. Bro, yeah. It's only a curfew violation, so some people, they were hitting them with whitey. Yes. Like, hella shit. Do you have Sam Leonard somewhere? I literally just got up. Like, I'm just walking in.
I see you walking up the street outside.
So you got arrested for a curfew violation?
Yeah. Okay,
Can
so...
I've got like 1,000 people I've been live streaming to in my pocket. Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Can I show your face? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
All right. So I'm standing here with a young woman. I was ear hustling her conversation. She just got out of jail last night. She got arrested for a curfew violation. Is there anything that you'd like to say to everyone that can't make it down here?
Be safe. When the curfew comes, you all need to get out because we were trying to get out of the protest group for at least an hour and a half, almost 2 hours, and the cops literally were coming in on us, making a square to where we could not get out, and they blocked us in, and we had no choice but to basically surrender. We tried running, it didn't happen. I got all cut up from different things, so just make sure that when curfew hits, sets in, when you're out here, you need to know that there is a possibility that you are going to get arrested and charged maybe with a felony for what they say rioting. So just be careful and everybody stay safe.
Okay.
Maybe stay away from the police plates because it also helped all the people out here made it longer for us to get out.
Understood.
So,
so I've been doing this for a couple of days now. I've been pepper sprayed with you. I did not get arrested, luckily.
Yeah.
Do you need help with the paperwork and things? I have friends. I've got attorneys messaging me and everything, and
I think I'm good. Unfortunately, I'm already on probation, so this was a violation of my probation. I'm hoping that just it being curfew, that it won't go too hard, but
okay.
It was crazy.
There's been, countless people have tagged me and stuff about attorneys that are offering services for pro bono. I don't have any those numbers written down, but there are resources.
Cool. I will definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
My phone's dead, so.
Okay. I'll text you from my other phone here. I wouldn't say your number. I do got a bunch of people on here. I don't want them to
Oh yeah, no, okay.
Yeah. I'll grab the information. I'll send it to you. Be safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so the protest group is now moving back north. For those of you that kind of just hopped in sort of the tail end of that, that young lady did get arrested last night. She was only charged with a curfew violation. She didn't have any. It didn't sound like she had any rioting charges. For those that have previously tagged me in attorneys that are offering pro bono services, I am going to take her. I'm going to take the information. I'm going to pass that along to that young lady. So while we're kind of pausing, small update on myself. I have chosen to leave the bike at home today. I'm on foot, and actually I am not wearing a full ninja mask that I've had on in previous days. So I decided that yesterday, after covering my face, and yesterday I did have a flak jacket on that a friend had loaned to me. I have opted not to wear that today. I would much rather be, I guess, trusted and look like the others that are down here, rather than mistaken for police again. So I do plan on staying with this group for as long as it goes on. I did park my car a couple blocks away. I'm not actually going to say on which block. So should I need to move to another area of town, I will be able to hop in my car and make it to the Highlands or the West End or whatever we need.
Come this way! Come this way! No lives matter too, but some here, some here. All right, everybody. No lives matter till Black lives matter. No lives matter till Black lives matter.
Yep. Yep. So we've got police chopper is following the march. As we've seen in the past. Sorry.
All white allies to the front. We appreciate you.
Yep. So they've called for all the white allies that are joining the crowd to go to the front of the march here. Yeah, so for those that have not caught up with the news in the last day or so, last night, last night a man was killed at 26th and Broadway. He was the owner of a restaurant. That restaurant has served free, a lot of food to the community. And actually police have eaten there for free since its opening. I do have friends that are police officers, and I've seen them on social media claiming nothing but adoration for that man that was killed. The news update today was that Mayor Fisher announced that the police had turned off their body cameras during that raid last night. I'm sorry, not during the raid, during the confrontation last night. And the owner of a restaurant, it's still speculation whether the crowd fired first or the National Guard and police acted on their own. But either way, there were no police there's no police cameras that were on at the time, and the wrong man was shot. Louisville Mayor Fisher announced today that the police chief, who is set to retire next week, he said retire on June 1st, was sort of a stay until the end of the month, has been fired immediately. So a police chief that had already put in for his retirement was fired. And that's the only repercussions that we've seen from the police's actions. It's been, I did some quick math earlier, but I think it's been 77 days since Breonna Taylor was murdered. And after that 77 days, there has been no evidence that's been released, for people to view. David McAtee. I'm sorry, his name escaped me. David McAtee. I need to say his name. David McAtee was murdered. And so, as we've seen in previous days, any time that the traffic in a street or intersection gets blocked, the police declare that that is considered an unlawful protest, and they've used those opportunities to pepper spray and tear gas the crowd. Some people that are throwing paper in the air, and other protesters picking up the trash. But yeah, anytime that traffic is blocked, the police have used that as an opportunity to disperse the crowd. But as we saw yesterday, where the entirety of the crowd was in Jefferson Square, and was protesting peacefully, completely off the street, that they chose to flashbang and pepper spray the crowd. Then there was no tear gas deployed yesterday, at least anywhere that I was. Yeah, see the police chopper is still circling, following the protesters here.
No peace! No peace! No peace! You can't stop the revolution! You can't stop the revolution!
Possibly. I do know some Katies. Yes, I know she is, yes. Yeah. Gotcha. Be safe today. Yep. So for as an update to I guess to what's going on here, the protesters are still for the most part continuing to move forward. Down Muhammad Ali here. There it seems to be like there are more and more protesters that are coming in from all directions.
Good to see you. Be safe.
You too.
problem. Thank you.
Everybody hear that?
Number 1, abolish no-knock warrants.
Regarding the use of body cameras on LMPD officers, requiring the cameras must be on and recording during the full work shift. Again, LMPD officers must have body cameras on and recording during the full shift. Updated and more frequent effort training efforts, including physical and visual health. Updated and more frequent training efforts.
Number 1, abolish no-knock warrants. Number 2, police cameras on at all times. Number 3, reform for training, including physical and mental, for all police. Number 4, auditing from a non-police entity for all issues. I'm sorry, I didn't catch the end of it. Thank you. Oh, actually, I have a list here.
Militarized police units should not be deployed until protests become uncivil or life-threatening. Again, militarized police units should not be deployed until protests become uncivil or life-threatening.
Hold up. This is on 4th and Muhammad Ali. The parade of protesters has continued has continued east down the road from the government building. As a heads up, I want to relate to everybody once again. This is third day in a row that I'm down here. I've got nearly 20 hours of live footage of all the protests. I've captured police stealing water, stealing milk. I've captured several clashes between police and protesters. Protesters on their hands and knees being shot with tear gas and pepper bullets. My name is Jason Downey. You can find me on Facebook. All of this information is public. There's a link. You are more than welcome to download all of that video, and you can cut that video and do anything that you'd like with it. Information should be free. Information should be shared without bias. And information, you know what? That was both of them. Information should be free and should be shared without bias. It should be shared in a way that people don't have to wait, more than 2 months for an investigation. I'm not worried about any photo. I'm not worried about any credit. I'm not worried about any quoting. You can take that. You can claim it as your own. You can post it wherever you want. Just tell the truth. Yep. So, and I do want to thank everybody that has been messaging me directly and providing information as far as like what they're hearing on police scanners and information from other streamers and so forth. At any point in time with this main group, there is always a police chopper circling, sharing locations with people that are wishing to join. I'm not putting anybody in jeopardy. They know where we are. They know what we're doing. I have no doubt that police are monitoring my feed. They're getting intel on protesters and what they're doing. They are potentially using that information to take advantage of situations. I am aware that does go on, as well as it does with any other real member of the media that's sharing information. I'm not a protest organizer. I do not know who protest organizers are. I do not know their names. I do not know where they come from. I've chosen to stay away from any of that aspect of it. I do want to report, and I do want to do it in a way that doesn't put those people in jeopardy. So to give an update for those that have just kind of joined recently, I got down, maybe I want to say maybe an hour or so ago. The crowd was gathered at the normal spot of 5th and Jefferson. There was not a heavy police presence. It seemed to be no National Guard, no Kentucky State Police. There were a few Louisville Metro Police Department officers that were in riot gear, but weren't assembled in a line. That they were allowing people to protest peacefully. This is... Hold on. I will tell you where we are in the next intersection because I've lost my brain. There were police officers that were in uniform that were walking around. They were hugging protesters. They were taking pictures in front of signs. There was a time during all that where police officers and protesters dropped to a knee and prayed together, which was met by a very 50-50 response from the protesters that were here. As we saw yesterday on Steph Townsell's live feed, there was a hug that took place between an officer who dropped his riot gear and hugged a protester, and then not 20 minutes later, they unleashed with pepper spray bullets and flashbangs, to the crowd. So later on, if you see your traditional media outlet posting all that crazy cool video of how the police and how protesters hugged and came to agreements, remember to see how this continues throughout the night. So this is 4th and Liberty is where we're at right now. I have opted to leave the bike at home tonight. To be honest, my ass is kind of sore, and I did bring the car down because I thought I might end up driving to the West End or to the Highlands again. Yep. And so for those that are continuing to look for information, I know there are lots of other live streamers that are down here. Steph Townsell's had a feed, and she's been out the last several nights. You can look for Riot Heart. Riot Heart is a friend, and he's been streaming from his Facebook page of these events. I actually think he's down here today somewhere. I did speak to Steph earlier, and I know that Steph will also be out here tonight. I do not know when they will be. I do not know where they will be. There are also, there's been streams all day of what's going on out in the West End. I was, in between doing stuff on my computer, I was tabbing over, and since early this morning, there are several live feeds that are covering all that. I strongly advise you, if you want a truth about what's going on down here, stay away from your WLKY, stay away from your WHAS. Find someone local who's standing on the front lines, giving the truth about what's going on. So far, the majority of the chants they've heard are, Breonna Taylor's name, no justice, no peace. It's been kind of it's a very, very peaceful chants today. As we kind of heard in previous days, as the night goes on, fuck the police, fuck 12, gets chanted pretty heavily. There's been none of that response today. Okay. So the crowd here now has returned back to 6th and Jefferson at the courthouse here. There appears to be some more police presence. I found them. Yeah, so as the protest group continues to move on the street, we can see down here. I know the sun's kind of behind it, but that is, I'm going to estimate at least 100 National Guard and LMPD. That is a large military vehicle on our left. I do see the quote unquote SWAT van that's parked behind them. They are holding riot shields. They are holding sticks. They are not formed into a line. They seem to be standing in circles talking. Let's hope it stays that way. Yep.
They said the mayor would do it.
So with the helicopter overhead, I really can't tell what he's saying. I hear talks about reform and whatnot. I think he's just reading back through the list of demands that they covered earlier. There is definitely more people that are down here. Let me hop up here and get a better view. Yeah, so we can see a crowd that was merely one corner earlier has now extended all the way across the park. Jefferson Park in front of the courthouse is completely full of people now. I see more people walking in from every block. I have seen some media presses down here. There's a WLKY team that's right here. I did pass some Spectrum News again. I did see WHAS 11 who's out here reporting as well. Hold on, I'm catching up on some messages on my other phone. I'm gonna hang the camera here for a second. This is at Jefferson. I can never name this park. We're at 6th and Jefferson, across between the courthouse and the judicial building. I can never remember the name of this park. It's been the site of where all the protesters have met in the last several days. What's up, baby? How you doing? I'm not used to seeing you from this angle, like I looking down at you. What's up? How you doing? Yeah, I'm seeing there are definitely way more people down here with cameras live streaming on Facebook than I've seen in previous days. Maybe it's because I don't have my mask on, but I've already had 6 or 7 people stop me, and I've seen their phones. These are friends, and they're providing coverage of the events of what's going on down here. Information is out there. Find local streamers that are willing to stay on the ground after the media cuts away. They stop recording and they get in their cars and drive away when tear gas flies. Yeah, so for those that are just tuning in, this is 6th and Jefferson by the courthouse in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. I've been down here in maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours. Protesters for day, I believe this is day 5, day 4 for me, have met down here, to express their concerns with the death of Breonna Taylor, and justice from police and so forth. What we've seen so far today is for the first time there were police officers that are walking around in uniform. The police officers are walking around in uniform, hugging protesters, taking pictures with signs. Actually, we'll get there's a police officer there who's walking around having conversations with protesters. Do what? How you doing? Yeah, they just did a lap, kind of around and back down here. Relatively chill right now.
Kind of unsettling.
Yeah, so
Not enough numbers to that.
Yeah, I mean there. I feel like there was more people that were down here yesterday. And definitely it was very, very similar where everybody was kind of just hanging out right here, and they just opened fire, flashbangs of pepper spray. It was like right after the mayor got on and was like, "Hey, they don't have a permission to whatever, right?" And then shit just opened up. Yep. So looking around today, during a protest yesterday, there was lines of Kentucky State Police, National Guard, and Louisville Metro Police that were boxing the protesters in. That it doesn't seem to appear that to be the same today. There is a large group around the corner, caddy corner from where I'm standing now on 6th and Jefferson, where I did see. All kinds of people that were, all kinds of police that were, I guess preparing to react if there's a problem. Somebody definitely feel free to step up and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe the president actually has the authority to do that. Jurisdictions and ordinances that take place are done by your state government. Hence why every state is having different rules in response to COVID. I don't believe that the president has the authority to do that. I said, I'm no law major. I might be wrong, but I don't think that's a thing. I realize that, he's the president, and I'm a dude standing on the corner of the courthouse, but I think I might be right. Yeah, and so to talk about curfew on previous days, I have been out here in previous days. 8 p.m. was the curfew before, and then they were tear gassing people in the street at 6. I don't think the curfew has anything to do with with what the police, our local police, intend on doing. Once again, this is Jefferson and 6th Street by our courthouse. And it's downtown Louisville, Kentucky. This has been going on for a couple hours, a peaceful protest. We do have our local media that's down here. We do have there are police. There are more police in uniform that are circling and having conversations with the crowd. They're shaking hands and laughing and taking pictures with signs.
The mouth, y'all. Keep the peace. On the mouth. They got them helmets on. Watch them. Watch them. Watch them.
Yeah. And so, it's an announcement from protest organizers to continue the peace. Yep. I'm gonna change position. I'm gonna go around the corner and get some footage of the police and Kentucky State Police that we saw earlier.
They moved though. There were a lot of them. That's what they left.
Yeah. Yeah. So around the corner, there are less police that are here. That is National Guard that's with them. I mean, we can see like they're leaning against cars and they're sitting against the wall here. That's pretty nice indication that they're not ready to tear gas or put don the riot gear and push protesters out. I've seen in the past that can change very quickly. But as for right now, it appears that they're going to allow the protest to continue peacefully. You doing okay? Yeah. Look, you ain't got a battery pack for your phone? What are you doing?
I got a battery pack. I forgot my iPhone cable.
I got one.
No, you don't.
I do have one. I'm gonna need it back.
I will give you. This is just two streamers doing the old iPhone cable.
Oh, you do? You missed the handoff between Sam and I 2 days ago, where she drove up in a truck and
I didn't miss it. I watched the whole thing. I appreciate you, man. I'll literally give you this one back plus 5 more. So.
Yeah, dude, I don't care about the the cost. I just might need it for later.
I'm gonna set my phone down. I'm gonna plug it in real quick. And I'm running that no case light.
Fuck out of here. I'm gonna put the camera in my pocket for a second. I'm gonna go ahead and put on my my typical ninja face mask I've been wearing the last couple days, just in kind of case shit gets ugly. Plus, COVID.
Is that advised? I brought a t-shirt. Is that advised? I brought a t-shirt. I learned how to do that when I was 12.
I meant to go pick up the bottle clock today. Also, the cable I just lent you is unplugged and hanging from your backpack.
I meant for it to be that way. Any cops right now? No, they're not. I have not seen anything of sort.
All right, I'm back. You're out of my pocket. Zip my shit back up.
Oh, I brought the K through 12 pack special, you know. Just in case.
All right, I'm about to take over this way. Be safe.
I'll see you.
I'm on the side. You know, it's.
Yep. So, you know, it appears the numbers are going up. You know, more and more people are coming down to join. You know, we do have officers, you know, that are in uniform, that are having conversations with protesters. So we got some additional police vehicles that are making their way around, and we got more protesters that are coming up. You know, the other side of the building. It doesn't appear that there's any police that are further down Jefferson Street. You know, so there's maybe between 50 or 100 that are within a block or two of the building. I've not seen any more. Be safe out here tonight, all right?
Hey, we have all just been declared domestic terrorists by the federal government. We have all just been declared. Look it up. Look. What the fuck? Trump is on the news right now.
Trump does not have the authority.
Okay? Let's go to court and see that. We don't have time for court, brother. I'm telling you, that's what they just told me.
What's she say?
Yeah, they just said the military can go after civilians. Stop fucking around. Do not be fooled. Do not be fooled.
Everything's peaceful.
Do not be fooled.
No. Yeah, so we can see, you know, this is similar to what we've seen in previous days. You know, there are police on rooftops. Yeah, I think they're controlling drones and have binoculars. You know, I don't see that they're holding any rifles today.
See ya. What is the fucking truth? This is the lie. He just did it.
Yeah, so you know, it seems like word is starting to make it around down here about what the president just kind of came out and said. Obviously, that's you know, obviously that's sort of causing some you know, some unrest between the people that are down here. Yeah, so I just kind of made a walk around the park. to bring everybody up to speed on what's happened so far today. The group met up, and they've been peacefully assembled down here at 6th and Jefferson at the courthouse. Let me get up here. So yeah, the 6th and Jefferson, the courthouse. The crowd is they've marched for a couple blocks. Down here today, there are police that are in uniform that are hugging protesters, taking pictures of signs.
I had to sit down next to to make sure that I didn't trip up. What's up, Teddy? Are you? What's up, Teddy? Oh,
Yeah, I mean, as far as military presence, I do want to make it clear that the National Guard has already been deployed with Louisville. They've been down here. They've came with riot shields and they've came with sticks. They've already broken up peaceful protesters. Saturday night, I got a lot of footage of a clash between peaceful protesters and the National Guard in the Highlands, right on the corner of Baxter and Highland Avenue. The National Guard is here. The National Guard is being used to enforce curfew and other things.
Glad I was in that. First day I was here,
Good shot. Good shot.
Facebook Live.
Yeah, I do see people talking about donations and other things. I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that. I do not want donations. If you really want to show your support for what I'm out here doing, please take money and then donate it to your local favorite charity, and then send me a screenshot. I don't need any donations. I don't want any donations. I would much rather that money go to people that need it. It's been suggested in the chat, and I agree that if you're looking for a fund to donate to, the Louisville Bail Fund is there specifically to get people out of jail that have been arrested for protesting. Those people need your help. Send money there. But ultimately, it's your money. Send it wherever you'd like. Just don't send it to me. It's a chance of Breonna Taylor. This is what democracy looks like. No justice, no peace. While it's kind of quiet, give an update of kind of surroundings here. I mean, there are several hundred people that have came down to protest on 5th and Jefferson, the courthouse in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. There's been a police helicopter that's been sort of steady circling the crowd. Police have been slightly assembled around the corner. Not holding rage shields, not wearing gas masks. We're not seeing the perimeters of police that are stationed around the crowd like we've seen in days previous. There are still, there are people that are on the buildings. The police officers that are on the buildings with binoculars. We've seen drones that have been sent over the crowds in the past to get footage. Chance of no justice, no peace. Oh my God, hold on, I'm distracted. God, that boombox is fucking rad. Oh my God, that's great. I've changed my mind. If y'all want to donate to my cause, please find me that boombox. Find me that boombox and send it to me for my birthday. God damn, that's awesome.
No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace! No peace!
And so the crowd's taking a knee now. Hey, Mom, if you're watching my feed, I need you to grab that link for that boombox right there that Eric just posted. Mom, if you are watching, I need you to go get that boombox for me. I'm definitely just kidding, Mom. Do not buy me that boombox. Please do not buy me that boombox. I will find the boombox later. Just to sort of recap, what we said today, or we've seen today. Protesters have gathered peacefully. This is 5th and Jefferson at the courthouse. And there's far less police presence down here. The crowd has been peaceful. There's been some marching for a few blocks. There are officers that are down here that are in uniform that are having conversations with protesters, that are hugging and taking pictures in front of signs. As we've seen on days previous, there was on Steph Townsend's feed yesterday. We saw a police officer drop his riot shield, drop his baton, and hug a protester. And not 20 minutes after, flashbangs and pepper spray was launched against the crowd that was gathered here in the park across from the courthouse. And to once again, sort of recap what we've seen the last couple of days. This is day 4 of recording for me. I have live footage of police tear gassing and pepper spraying, protesters that are on their hands and knees. I've seen police, hit, young girls with sticks and riot shields. All of this video is available for free. My name is Jason Downey, D-O-W-N-E-Y. There's links to the footage in one of my previous statuses. Feel free to grab the link. Feel free to share the link. I don't want any credit for any of what you do with it, but you're more than welcome to all of it. The video from my live feeds, as they're cut off today, will be downloaded and uploaded to those links as well. You're welcome to all of it. There was a few minutes earlier where I had a short interview with a girl that was arrested last night. As she was leaving the protest downtown, walking towards her home. A young girl, maybe 20 years of age. was not fined for being out past curfew, but was actually arrested for being out past curfew.
If we whooping them, we ain't just saying nothing. If we see somebody smash us out, we whooping them. We are not Taylor. We are not Taylor. Just in case. We are not Taylor. So don't even do it. We are not Taylor. We ain't just filming. We whooping dudes. Just in case. It's like that stereotype us. Doing a little bit of that.
I don't know if you can tell who that is right there. That's a very handsome man.
You look a lot better.
Yeah. Now I'm way cuter with a face mask on.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Need water or anything?
I'm good. I got like a full bottle. So this is we're down at 5th and Jefferson, 6th and Jefferson at the courthouse, where people have been protesting for peacefully for many hours now.
You knew I was gonna be down here. Oh, I'm so glad to see you. You knew I was. Yes. I'm out of here. I gotta be curfew.
As far as people in the crowd, I'm going to say there's maybe just short of 1,000 people down here. The crowd it's this packed for pretty much the entire block down here. I would imagine that people will begin to disperse after the curfew goes into effect. Yeah, I'm trying to step away a little bit to see if I can get a wider shot of the crowd. Yeah, I mean, there's, people are all across the park here. Yeah, I do want to read that last night, on 26th and Broadway, the barbecue man known as David McAdee was murdered, was killed. There was a conflict between between people that were down on 26th of Broadway and local police. Supposedly responded and to being fired upon, and the response was the death of David McAtee, who, as we've later figured out, owns the restaurant on the corner, and he had nothing to do with what was going on. Nothing to do with what was going on, and and then today, the Louisville Mayor Fisher announced that that body cameras were not on that as police moved in, and you know what? Murdered is right. An innocent bystander. I'm trying to be, I guess, halfway neutral here, but an innocent bystander was murdered in crossfire or some other whatever between police and the folks that were gathered down there. It was later found out that his restaurant has actually given free food to police pretty much since their inception. He was a huge supporter of police, and he was a man that was caught in the crossfire. The police, the mayor got on the news today, and once again did announce that there was no body camera footage, that the police had turned off all of their body cameras. He did promptly fire the police chief. The police chief was actually set to retire at some point in the next couple weeks. That to me does not sound like enough justice. His body was left on the street. He died sometime between midnight and 1 or 2 o'clock last night. I don't know the exact time, but I do know that at noon today, there were streamers that were down there and were saying that his body was still on the street. A man's body was left on the street corner. He was killed for more than 12 hours. I do. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, will you write on it for me? If we can find a spot here. Yeah. Right here's good. Right there's perfect. Yeah, just anywhere.
Handwriting ain't the best, homie. It's my bad.
Hey, as long as it's on there.
There you go, man.
Thank you so much.
Stay safe.
Alright, I'm gonna hang tight. My phone right here. I'm gonna catch up on messages that everybody's been sending me. Oh. Appreciate the heads up.
Yeah.
Y'all be safe today, okay?
Yeah, you too.
Thank you for the help. Okay?
Yeah. Keep watching.
Awesome. Hey, actually, I drove down here today. Woo! All right, so the crowd appears to be marching again. The crowd appears to be marching. We're leaving 5th and Jefferson here. Yeah, so what that was there are protesters walking around with Sharpies, and they are writing the pro bono legal aid numbers on people, so they have the numbers with them. For those that don't know me, I'm I'm pretty heavily tattooed, and there wasn't really any room on my arms to write the number in there. So there's a little bit of insight into my life. The crowd is moving. I can't tell if there's a police escort like there's been in previous days. And when I say escort, I mean they drive ahead to block intersections so that people can march peacefully. For those that are out there or following the feed, I just go ahead and pin that number. That is the number for the law firm that promised pro bono legal aid to anybody that has been arrested and needs representation. So the crowd is chanting, say their names: Breonna Taylor, David McAtee. I'm going to try to get to the front of the crowd to see if I can get footage of police officers that are walking with the crowd here. I'm not on my bicycle today. I'm a little less mobile. I'm gonna throw my phone in my pocket for just 1 minute. While we got a break here, I'm gonna grab some water. The chants they're saying are Breonna Taylor, David McAtee. This is what democracy looks like. Yep. So we've got several blocks of people that are all walking together. You know, it's pretty much this thick for maybe between four city blocks. I left my Heelys at home because I'm down here to provide coverage, not to pick up girls. So no Heelys today. Yeah, so once again, for those tuning in, this is Louisville, Kentucky. Downtown Louisville, Kentucky. We just crossed 6th and Chestnut. This is 6th and Chestnut, and the crowd has been here, now peacefully marching northbound towards Broadway. The police mostly seem to, just be in sort of an observation mode so far. I'm trying to get to the front of the crowd here, but they're saying there are police that are walking with the crowd in uniform.
No justice, no peace. Fuck the police. Hey, no justice, no peace. Who streets? Who streets?
I didn't see what Linda Benning said. I did just go ahead and kick her, though. Damn. I mean, I admit, I am walking like crazy trying to get to the front of the group here. Maybe I should have brought the bicycle after all, but I mean, there are blocks and blocks of protesters that are walking together. Now going westbound on Broadway. We can see cars that are honking with their fists in the air, showing support. Yeah, the crowd is going westbound. So yesterday, as the crowd was walking during the same path, there was a police line that was actually on Broadway, stopping protesters from walking through. after a couple minutes of chance and wow, train of thought. After a couple minutes of shout protest, the police actually moved out of the way and allowed protesting to continue peacefully down Broadway. As we've seen in previous days, there is sorry, y'all. Train of thought. Sorry, catch my breath here. As we've seen in previous days, the police has used blocking traffic. The police has used blocking traffic as an excuse to declare an unlawful protest. The detectives, have gone out over the loudspeakers and said an unlawful protest. Any sort of blocking traffic is considered. Wow. Blocking traffic is considered by the state to be an unlawful protest, and at that point, the police have had all the leverage they need to dispense tear gas and pepper spray bullets into the crowd, as we've seen in previous days. The protesters today are much more organized. The crowd has kept moving. They're not blocking both directions of traffic at any one time. They are moving peacefully westbound down Broadway. The police chopper is following as always, but there is not any police escort with us. There's not a march of troops like we've seen in I say troops. And Louisville Metro Police and Kentucky State Police, as we saw yesterday, that were following the crowd. Yeah, so let me see. I'm gonna stop here and do. I'm here. So this is 8th and Broadway, and the front of the protest line still maybe a block and a half in front of me. And as I kind of rotate back here, I mean, as far as I can see, there's lines of people. I'm going to estimate that numbers are now well above 1,000. There are several thousand people that are down here marching, solidarity, chants of no justice, no peace. Yeah, and so there's, as protesters walk past, there's honking. There are honking from people as it comes through. Those are not honks of aggravation. Those honks are accompanied with fists in the sky. That's the way, people down here in cars, that's how they're showing support of protesters. They're honking horns, they're revving engines. They've got fists in the sky. Look like Eminem's cousin just did a burnout in the middle of the street. Not sure what that was about. Now the crowd is moving past Roy Wilkins Avenue, which is 9th Street. And they're continuing to march westbound here. I don't believe that that we're being forced in any specific direction. That they are just marching. I don't know if the final destination is 26th Street. I have no direction as far as what's being organized and where anybody's going. I have chosen to stay out of that. And I would rather any communication done by protest organizers be done offline in a way that I can't view and I can't stream. I do know that police people are monitoring this. It's kind of threat intelligence 101, right? Like you get as many eyes on the ground as possible, and I'm standing here with video.
Matter! Matter!
You know, so I see people talking about what's going on at Oxmoor Mall. You know, I did do some reading on protester rights in the last day or two. That there are a lot of rules about what you can and cannot do on private property. Oxmoor Mall is private property, and they can reserve the right to ask you to leave for really almost any reason they see fit. And any attempt to ignore that, you could be arrested for trespassing. That's why these protests are happening on public roads, where they organize in public parks. Public parks can, it's considered public, in short of ordinances like we've seen with curfews, that you can't legally be asked to leave. Please do not take my word for any of that. I am recalling what I've read last night and sort of the days in days previous. I advise anybody that's going to protest at any point in time to understand what your rights are. Don't find some third party news source. Find the legislature for your city, for your county, for your state. Read what it says, and protect yourself with those rules. Yep, I am on foot today. Yesterday was a pretty big hassle. To stick with the crowd, to be on a bike and not try to fall over myself and whatnot. I've got enough people now that have contacted me and said they live close, that if I need to get from place to place, they're gonna be able to give me a ride and carry me around, which will be very helpful. Yeah, so we still have, there are blocks and blocks and blocks of people that are walking down the street together. Chants of no justice, no peace. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. It's been filling the air since we've been walking down. There are signs, end white silence, justice for David, Black Lives Matter. This crowd has been 100% peaceful since they started earlier this afternoon. So this is 13th and Broadway is where I'm standing currently in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, towards our west end. The crowd, as I've been told, is towards 26th Street, where David McAtee was murdered last night as an innocent bystander. Can I get one of these? Thank you, sir. Thank you. You all stay safe. Thank you. As we've kind of seen in previous days, there are protest supporters that are dropping bottles of water. I just refilled during a handoff from somebody. There's that aren't protesters. I will say that over the last couple of days, so many of you have wrote me and expressed your gratefulness for covering some of this. I do want to say that if you can't be down here to support, if you have children, you have jobs, you have poor health, there is still a pandemic going on. By all means, never ever be ashamed if you're not in a position to be down here. Just be sure to reach out to those that are affected by this. There are plenty of places you can donate money. There are plenty of other ways to show support. I personally, I've got video that's posted. If you're good with video editing, by all means, you can cut down some of the footage that I've got of police firing tear gas at protesters and spread that at your will. You don't have to be on the ground to be doing your part. I know I've said it several times today, but I do want to reiterate because I do see people asking. Last night, a local restaurant owner, David McAtee, was shot serving food at his restaurant. Shot serving food. The accounts from police was that someone in the crowd shot first, and that they responded accordingly, and that David McAtee was caught in the crossfire. What actually happened is completely purely speculation at this point. Louisville Mayor Fisher did get on the news today and say that the police did not have their body cameras turned on. so there is no evidence of what actually went down. You can hear now they're actually chanting, David McAtee, that was the man that was killed last night. And so it appears that the crowd is walking towards 26th and Broadway, where that incident took place last night. They are currently passing 15th and Broadway. Once again, for those that are writing me and expressing concern with capturing some of this stuff live, I do want to reiterate that there's a police chopper, a police helicopter that is following the crowd at all times. It's no secret that the crowd is here. Thank you for your concern, but I personally don't feel that I'm putting anyone else in danger. That I'm not giving any intel to police officers that they don't already have. The techie in me, I see there's conversation about signals being jammed. To be honest, cellular technology, Wi-Fi technology, radio technology can be blocked by anyone. It's there are kits online that you can buy for less than $100 to wipe out signal in your area for hundreds of yards. By the way, that is a very huge prosecutable federal offense. I would advise you to not do that. But for signals being jammed, it's very, very speculative on whether those are protesters or police or instigators in the middle. Also, right here, I never knew this existed. This is a Louisville Urban League mini golf course. It's free to the public. Little putt-putt course on the corner of 16th and Broadway. That's actually something that I've never seen before. If you live down this way and you like putt-putt, treat yourself. Looks like it's kept way better than that place in Fern Creek that we've all been playing putt-putt at since we were 15. So chance now, this is what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. I mean, really, of all days that I should have been on my bicycle, today would have been the absolute best one. Man. Yeah, maybe we still have, I'm going to estimate maybe 5 or 6 blocks of people that are all marching together in solidarity. Very peaceful protests as we continue westbound towards 26th Street. I'm currently at 17th Broadway. The chants of arrest those cops, arrest those cops.
Don't each other, don't arrest those cops. 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 Arrest those cops.
Breonna Taylor. Breonna Taylor. Nah, don't worry about anybody trying to bring me a bike down. I mean, to be honest, getting a USB-C cable linked up was a big enough hassle the other day. I'll be fine. Real talk, I will knock on a stranger's window and ask them to give me a ride several blocks back down. You know, people helping people. It's not gonna be a problem. They're headed to 26th and Broadway, I think. I'd imagine that's where everybody's marching to. Be safe tonight. I do see it mentioned about the 4-hour max. Facebook has a policy where at a 4-hour mark, it will automatically stop your video. If that happens, I will just immediately start up another right behind it. If you haven't already, track me down, shoot me a friend request. My name is Jason Downey. That's DOWNEY. You can hit the follow button, send me a friend request. I'll accept the friend request when I can. I'll just absolutely start one back up. My plan today, as it has been the last couple of days, I will stay until what I think is the protest is ended, or until I get arrested. Oh, sorry. I take a minute to talk about how So on oh, hey, I'm back. I lost cell phone service for a little bit. I apologize. So I was talking about Friday. I've been down here recording every night since Friday nights. And Friday night I did, after a day of peaceful protests that there were rioters and looters that sort of descended on the city. Sort of taking advantage of finding opportunity within the chaos of what was a peaceful protest. I do not believe that your protesters and your rioters and looters are the same people. If you're interested in that footage, like I said, it is uploaded to that mega link that's been posted previously. You're more than welcome to review it to yourself. To be honest, that was something that I didn't realize was a thing. I'd always in the past falsely, associated protesting with rioting as one and the same. But around 8 p.m., 9 p.m. on Friday, you could see that protesters, one with signs and megaphones, had left the area and replaced with young black men, old white men, young white men, white women, white black women, everybody. Because as we all know, being a piece of garbage has nothing to do with your skin color, and there are rioters of all sorts. All that video is available. I do advise you to sort of watch it all happen. Yeah, I haven't seen any comments scroll. Is someone give me like an okay or hey, what's up? Let me know that my feed's still going here. Yeah, I mean, it looks like my feed is up, but I'm not seeing anything new in the comments. Is my audio up? Can everybody see and hear okay? Check 1 2. Check 1 2 3 4. Hello. Okay. Yeah. Thanks for writing me and letting me know. Yeah. I don't know why comments aren't scrolling through the middle, but I guess my feed is still going. Oh, okay. All the comments just caught up. Yeah, I don't know what was going on, but it appears to have showed up. Yeah, all y'all can ask Becca Lexo why she's so obsessed with me. I'm just kidding. Becca's one of my very best friends, and I definitely did not text her back earlier. And I deserve all the hate that she's going to send my way. So we've arrived at 26 and Broadway here. The peaceful protest has continued down toward 26 and Broadway. This was the spot where David McAtee was an innocent bystander and was shot and killed last night.
No peace! No peace!
Yep. So as you guys have all seen, the crowd has peacefully marched from the courthouse on 5th and Jefferson. We've now stopped at 26th and Broadway. I mean, there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that are out here.
Quiet, not a smart guy.
Right, right.
What do we want? Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now!
Justice!
Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now! What do we want? Justice! What do we want? Now!
So the move down to Broadway and 26th.